They're incredible, two incredible people. Gotten to know them. Lieutenant Governor Larry Roden has been terrific, really terrific, wherever he may be. Thank you, Larry. Attorney General Marty Jackley, Attorney General. Thank you. Great job you're doing. Great job. Treasurer Josh Hader. Josh, thank you, Josh. Fantastic. Auditor, that's what the United States could use, a good auditor like Rich Satgast. The country could, did you know they sent billions of dollars to Afghanistan? Nobody has any idea where the money is. Rich, that wouldn't happen with you, right? He'd know every penny. I don't know, maybe not every penny, but think of it. We've put in $200 billion. And Europe, which is approximately the same size economy if you add it up, but which is obviously much more affected by that whole situation, would have never happened, by the way. Zero chance it would have happened. Zero. Would have never happened. And I'll get it done, too. I'll get it negotiated done, but it would have been a lot easier. All those dead people, all those cities that are in ruins, just in ruins. But when you look at that and you look at what happened, this is something that should have never, ever happened. But Europe is in for 20 billion. We're in for 200 billion. Why? It was like that with NATO. I said, you're not paying your bills. The United States was paying close to 100% of NATO. So they screw us on trade, and then we have to protect them militarily. I said, that doesn't work. And I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars in one meeting. They said to me, does that mean, sir, that you're not going to defend us from Russia if we're not paid up? I said, did you pay? No, I didn't. That means you're not going to be defended. And the money came pouring in. It was an amazing thing. Hundreds of billions of dollars. That's why NATO has money to do this. But think of it. They're in for 20 billion. We're in for 200 billion. Why? Why aren't they the same? First call I'd make is NATO. You got to equalize. You got to equalize. You got to put up money. But they're dealing with stupid people, our leaders. They're dealing with stupid people. Why should France and Germany, and why should all of them put up money if we don't ask them to put it up? Nobody asked. It was like with NATO. Nobody, Bush never asked. Obama never asked. He'd go in, make a speech, leave, and that's it. We'd pay all the costs. And nobody's asking. Do you think Biden goes there, you've got to equalize. This is not right. I don't think so. I don't think he knows what the hell we're even talking about if I told him. But we have to get them to put up money. They have to put up money, because they have a lot of money. But why should they put it up if we're doing it? We sent $25 billion yesterday, and somebody said, it's a lot of money. By the way, $25 billion, that's a lot of money. It was just like on a fluke. Blinken or somebody went there, and he said, we're going to give you another $25 billion. That's more than Europe has put up. But we have to be respected again. They don't respect us at all. You know, they respected me, and I was tough on them with all the money I took in from countries, but in particular China. But they actually do better. You can be tough, and you'll do better with them. They never treated us and me the way they treat this administration. They treat them like they're lapdogs. They call up. She said they are. Who said that? Stand up, please. Will you stand up? Who said that? Somebody. Boy. Well, you're right about that. They have to respect you. School and Public Lands Commissioner Brock Greenfield. Brock, thank you. Is China buying any of that land, Brock? No, he says, no, sir. Public Utilities Commissioner Christy Fegan. Thank you, Christy. Great job. A very special guy. This guy is tough. I mean, he's great. He broke every record tonight. He never thought he'd see a thing like this happen, because it's true. What Christy said, a lot of the people turned it down. I don't turn down. I come back to the people that love me. I come back. They turned it down. And if they did come, you'd have a crowd of about 100 people. But he knew what he was doing. He went to Christy. He said, do you think you can get Trump? And they called me, and I said, let's do it. Let's break every damn record for South Dakota. He's your GOP chairman, John Wick, and he's doing a fantastic job. John, great job. Great job. Thank you very much, John. A man who's also doing something very special, Rapid City Mayor Jason Solomon. Jason. Thank you, Jason. A friend of mine and one of the most respected people in the Senate. He's a great guy, Steve Daines. Where's Steve? Where's Steve? He is doing some job, and he's my friend. We need more Steve Daineses in the Senate, because the Senate has to get a lot tougher. Steve knows that. They got to get a lot tougher in the Senate. It's sad what's happening. And a man who was my first person. He's just outstanding. That's all I could say. He said, I put him in 6 months before I ran. This is 2015 now. I said, what do you think? And they were doing polls that looked like I was doing well, beating people. And he came in and said, sir, I'm telling you, you're going to win. I said, really, you think? And every day he'd come to my office, sir, you're leading, you're winning, you're leading. This poll is unbelievable. Look, I don't even know if it was a real poll. He just kept saying, you're unbelievable, sir. It's the most incredible politician I've ever seen. I haven't even started yet. And he got me a little bit excited. And then I started seeing the country wasn't doing well. And I said, you know what, Corey Lewandowski, I think what we're going to do is we're going to run. And he's a great guy and a very smart guy and a wonderful person and a friend of everybody, Corey Lewandowski. Where is he? Where is he? It's true. Were they real polls, Corey? You better tell me. Oh, he said no. He said no. I have a feeling that might be true. Thank you, Corey. Great guy. With the help of many of you in this arena, in 4 short years, we achieved more than any administration in the history of our country. We have to. And I say that all the time, and the fake news doesn't even correct me. We've done so many things. We became energy independent for the first time in history, and soon would have been energy dominant for the first time ever. Making billions and billions of dollars, rapidly paying down our staggering $34 trillion in debt. We're going to pay it down so fast. And reducing your taxes still further. I gave you the largest tax cut in the history of our country, larger than the Reagan tax cuts. We created the most secure border in U.S. history, built nearly 500 miles of border wall, got Mexico to give us 28,000 soldiers. You know, they always say, oh, he didn't get Mexico. I got Mexico to give us free of charge 28,000 soldiers while we were building the wall. We built almost 500 miles. You know what my critics say? Oh, but it wasn't all new. No. If there was an old 2x4 laying in the ground that's 50 years old, where they would take it and throw it away, would put in a brand new wall, they'd say, that was a renovation. That wasn't. No. These people are sick. But we built almost 500 miles. Then we were going to add another 200 miles, and we had it all done. You saw what happened, and would have taken them 3 weeks to put it up. We had the bad result in the election. Would have taken 3 weeks, and we would have, every hole would have been plugged. And we built the exact wall that the Border Patrol, they're incredible. Brandon Judd is incredible. Tom Homan is incredible. We have incredible people, and they want to do their job. It's you know, they could sit back and they could just not do anything. They really want to do. They love the country. They want to see it happen. But we got Mexico to put up billions and billions and billions of dollars in 28,000 soldiers protecting our border. We had the best record ever in the history of our country, and that included human trafficking, mostly in women, a horrible thing. You think of it as an ancient, horrible situation, but it's bigger now because of the internet. It's this massive, massive business, much bigger than it was 100 years ago and 200 years ago. It's horrible, but we had it to the lowest point it's been in decades. And we had drugs down to the lowest point they've been in decades. And we got Mexico to give us all those soldiers. For all those people that say, this was much more money than I was going to get Mexico to pay. They gave us 28,000 free. Now, I did tell them, listen, if you don't do that, we're going to tariff all the cars that come into the United States at a level like has never happened before. We would love to give you 28,000 free soldiers. Sir, we would love to give you 28,000. You know, when I first told them about that, we need 28,000 soldiers, your soldiers, free of charge. We need them on the border. And they looked at me like, are you kidding? Then I said, no, we have to have it. No, we won't do that. I said, yes, you will. You will do it. I'm telling you, you will. And we had a person at the State Department, a woman who was great. She was dealing with Mexico for 25 years. Sir, he'll never do it. She was very good, but she was never able to get anything. But she said, he won't do it. They won't do that. And I said, yeah, they will. Then when I met with the representative, the top guy, I said, yeah, we want 28,000 soldiers. He said, we're not going to do that. Why would we do it? You're going to do it. You're going to do it. He said, no, we're not. I said, yes, you are. Here's the story. I'm signing this document right now. On Monday morning, this was a Friday night. On Monday morning, everything you send into the United States, we're going to have a tariff on of 25%. And that's more money than your 28,000 soldiers will ever cost in a million years. Sir, I'd like to leave this room right now and make a phone call. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I said, you can do that. He came back. Sir, it would be our great honor to supply you free of charge 28,000 soldiers. And when I was negotiating, I said to Brandon Judd, and I said to Tom Homan, and I said to all of the people that were there that are so great, we had that border so good. It was so, all he had to do was go to the beach, okay, which he does anyway, but he destroyed everything. If he went to the beach, who the hell is telling him to go to the beach every day? Tell me, does he look good? He can't lift. You know, those things weigh about 3 ounces. They're meant for children to pick up. He can't lift the chair. He can't get his feet out of the sand. It's, who the hell, does he have some political consultant say, you know, you've got a great body. You should go to the beach. Who the hell is giving him that advice? I don't know. Does he like the beach that much? So crazy. But we negotiated, very important, remain in Mexico, because they used to come into our country and we couldn't get them out. When they touched our soil, you couldn't get them out. So we said, we want remain in Mexico. Hundreds of thousands of people were in Tijuana and different places. I wouldn't say Mexico was thrilled until we learned who they were. And in many cases, we wouldn't accept them. We wouldn't take them. And Biden gave that up. It was not easy. He gave it up. And we deported illegal alien criminals by the tens of thousands, MS-13. ICE is so incredible. They don't get the credit. These guys are so tough and love our country so much. They would walk into a nest. They call it a nest of MS-13. These are killers. These are the toughest. This is the toughest gang probably in the world. A lot of them go to Long Island. They go to different places. But Long Island, for whatever reason, and we have thousands of them. We got rid of thousands. But these guys would walk into a nest, and you just see fists flying. I mean, it's the most incredible thing. Who the hell wants to do it? See that guy there with the black? You're a stand-up, please. You're a tough guy. You're not going to do that job, right? Oh, he voted for Trump. I like him. I knew he's got a thing. And I vote for you, too. But you wouldn't do that job. I wouldn't do the job either. But these are tough people, and they love our country. And they were taking them out. They used to call it a paddy wagon. They were throwing them in, and they were taking them out by the thousands out of our country. And we had a problem because these other countries, like El Salvador, all of these different countries, they wouldn't take Guatemala. They wouldn't take the people back. And they came to me, and they said, sir, Guatemala, El Salvador, they won't take them back. They never have. They've never agreed to do it. And President Obama was never able to get them back. I said, oh, how much do we give them in aid a year? Sir, we give them 75 million. I said, I think you're wrong. I think it's 10 times that amount. Sir, I'd like to check. He comes back. Sir, you were right. It's 750 million. I say, well, that's peanuts compared to what we do, but it's a lot of money. So I said, inform them that effective immediately, we're not making any economic development payments to the country. Because what they would do is we would load up a plane, we would load up a bus, we'd take it into their country, and they wouldn't allow it in. They put planes on the runway, so our planes would fly in. They had big planes put all over the runway, so our planes couldn't land, so they'd come back. This went on for years. And I said, okay, what you do is we're not going to give them any more money. The 750, inform them, effective immediately, no more money. The following morning, I got a call from the 3 presidents. Sir, we'd like to talk to you. Actually, there were separate calls, too, but the exact same words. Sir, I understand there's some difficulty with bringing people back to our country. I said, yeah, for about 10 years, you haven't allowed anybody back in. You send them out yourself in the caravans, but you don't take them back. He goes, sir, perhaps there's a misunderstanding. We would be honored to take them back. Sir, when will the money start coming back into it? I said, number one, you got to take them back. We brought them back into those countries by the thousands and thousands and thousands. Some of these MS-13s, you read this story, in Long Island. In Long Island, two beautiful young girls, 16 years old, were walking to school, and they attacked them, and they cut them up in pieces, little pieces. They killed them both. And they used knives, not guns, because the knife is much more painful. They watched these kids suffer. These were beautiful, perfect kids. Number one in her class, and the other was fantastic athlete. They cut them up in pieces. These are animals. I said that publicly. I said, these are animals. And Nancy Pelosi said, these are human beings. They're not animals. No, they're animals. And we got them out by the tens of thousands. Now they're pouring back into our country because we have stupid people running our country. We appointed over 300 federal judges and 3 great Supreme Court justices. And I'm going to tell you something, because it's really a positive. It's a big positive, but they try and play it as a negative. Last year, those justices bravely and incredibly ruled on something that everybody has wanted for decades, for 51 years. They ruled to end Roe v. Wade. That was a big thing. And it's probably cost us politically, because the other side got energized. And, you know, they're the radicals, not the pro-lifers. But now pro-lifers have a tremendous power to negotiate. They have a power. You had no power to negotiate, because with Roe v. Wade, you couldn't negotiate. They could do anything they wanted. We didn't have any of that before this ruling. This moves the issue back to the states, where every legal scholar said it should be. And like President Ronald Reagan, good man, but like Ronald Reagan before me, I support the 3 exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I support. Not everybody does. I think a large portion do. I think you should, but again, that's your own feeling. Remember, the Democrats are the radicals on this issue because they're willing to kill babies in their 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th month, and even after birth. They're willing to kill babies. So when politicians talk about this, they have to say that they're the extremists, because if you're willing to take a baby out of the womb in the 8th month or the 9th month, or after the baby's born, remember that crazy governor, the past governor from Virginia, where he said, when the baby's born, you make a decision. And just recently with the Supreme Court. So that, by the way, the pro-life question, it's going to get you in a position where a lot of tremendously good things are going to happen. 52 years they tried to get that out. We did it. And now you're going to be in a position to do what everybody knows is right. And it's a very important decision. Nobody thought it would be possible to get, but it's something that's very important. The Supreme Court also approved something that nobody thought they would ever see: merit-based systems of education. In other words, if somebody is going to college and has all A's and wants to apply all A's, the best of everything, works so hard and gets rejected by somebody that didn't have anywhere near the academic credentials, nobody thought that would ever get approved. And that was so important. That was such a big thing. It's called merit-based. We have to go back to a merit-based country. But that was just the beginning. Here's just some of the agenda I'll be immediately implementing when it's all of us, when we become 47th President of the United States of America. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. He would have never done it. I know them both. You got to say. When I was on CNN, I said, I want to see whose side are you on? I said, I'm on the side of people not being killed. I'm on the side of hundreds of thousands of people are dying, and I think that's going to be one of the bad things later on when you find out the real number of people dying in that war. You know, they'll knock down a city, they'll knock down an apartment house, they'll say 2 people were injured. They weren't injured. There were hundreds and hundreds of people killed. Those buildings don't come down and you have 2 people injured. Big buildings coming down, or buildings that are 1,000 years old with the golden domes. You can never do that. But much more importantly, the people. So many people, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. It'll be millions. It's already millions. And it's a very, very sad thing. And the numbers are far bigger than anyone understands. And I'll get that done. I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III. I will prevent it. Nobody else is going to prevent it. Nobody else is going to prevent it. And this will be a war like no other. This is a nuclear war. If you have World War III, it'll be a nuclear war. And this won't be army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. This will be levels of destruction that nobody's ever contemplated or thought of before. I will totally obliterate the deep state. We started that. We were doing so well. And then COVID came in. And we'll fire the corrupt bureaucrats who have weaponized our justice system and destroying our country. To stop the Marxist prosecutors who release rapists and murderers while persecuting Republicans, conservatives, people of faith. I will direct a completely overhauled DOJ to investigate every radical DA and AG in America for their illegal, racist, and reverse enforcement of the law. I will immediately terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. We will seal up our borders like they were when they took office. Week after week, we're watching as Joe Biden's deadly border betrayals take precious, innocent lives. In May, a pack of 5 adult illegal alien and suspected MS-13 animals were arrested in Maryland for brutally murdering a 15-year-old boy and dumping his body in a state park. When the parents saw this, they'll never be the same either. The people that I was with the other night, they'll never be the same. These parents will never be the same. No parent will ever be the same. Just last month, a savage illegal alien who was released into our country by Joe Biden and his crazy, weak orders, and there are no orders, was arrested for raping an 11-year-old girl and strangling her to death after she was raped. Shortly before she was murdered, she texted her father that someone was knocking at the door. He arrived home from work and found his daughter's body stuffed in a laundry basket under her bed. These vicious Biden border killings must end, but it's only going to get worse because they're letting people in from prisons, from mental institutions. They're letting some of the worst people in the world in. And I tell you, I've met a lot of your law enforcement tonight. We have the greatest people in the world, law enforcement. They know how to do their job. We have to let them do their job. When I'm reelected, we will immediately commence the largest deportation operation in American history. But we cannot wait until 2025 to begin stopping this horrible invasion. This is like a military invasion. They're killing hundreds of thousands of people between the drugs that are coming in, the people that are coming in, the crime. That's why tonight I'm calling on congressional Republicans to ban Joe Biden from using a single tax dollar, no taxpayer money, to release or resettle illegal aliens into the United States, starting on the government funding deadline of September 30th. We take better care of these people, and many of them are criminals, than we take care of our veterans, our soldiers, and spend a lot more money doing it. You know, in New York, many of them are living in luxury hotels. Luxury hotels, hotels that you wouldn't want to go to because you wouldn't want to pay the price. Luxury hotels, it's not even believable. The time for talk is over. Now is the time for action. And they should immediately defund. Time for action. People are tired of talk. People are tired of talk. I said to our First Lady the other night, you know, this is big stuff. They caught Biden getting $10.2 million. That's peanuts compared to what the other numbers. But the guy said, this is big stuff. She goes, oh, well, all right. I said, what do you mean? Well, nothing will happen. We got to let it happen. And I tell Steve and everybody, you gotta take care of, I mean, our country is being fleeced and robbed by people that have gotten away with things that nobody should be allowed to. And a lot of the Republicans, and they're great people just period. Democrats too, they feel it. Things should happen to take care of this. When she went, oh, that's good, nothing will happen. And a lot of people feel that, right? A lot of people feel that. We can't have that. And I hope that's why Steve and his friends, because he's got some great ones over there, but I hope the Senate gets tough, because the House has been working hard, but the Senate under this guy, Mitch McConnell, has been a disaster. And they should immediately defund the DOJ and prosecutors who are trying to take conservatives and Republicans out of political races through indictments and other illegal means. That's what they're doing. You know, if I was in third or fourth place, or if I wasn't running, I'd be living the life of Riley. I wouldn't be here with you tonight, but I'd be living I'd have nice houses all over the place. I'd be living a beautiful life. They wouldn't indict me. They indicted me because I'm in first place. And I hate to read those good polls here, because every time I read a good poll, they want to indict me again. Maybe I should announce I'm doing horribly. It's horrible. Oh, we'll withdraw it. Their goal is to interfere with elections in order to make it harder for Republicans and conservatives to win. Congressional Republicans should also stop the Biden administration from bringing back COVID mandates, lockdowns, or restrictions of any kind by cutting off the money. And in your state, because of your governor, you're not going to have that problem, but a lot of states do. The radical Democrats are trying hard to restart COVID hysteria. I wonder why. Is there an election coming up by any chance? You know, I saw just the other day for the first time, we're thinking about masks again. I said, what's going on? Oh, that's right, there's an election coming up. No, these guys, they'll do anything. But we can't comply because it's bad. And just follow your governor, follow your governor. On day one of my new administration, I will terminate every Green New Deal restriction that is destroying the U.S. economy with skyrocketing energy costs. Starting with Biden's preposterous electric vehicle mandate. You know, some people want to drive for more than an hour and a half. Sean Fain, you know who that is? The president, and he's a respected guy, president of the United Auto Workers, cannot even think about allowing all electric cars. They will be made, every one of them, in China, and the auto industry in America will cease to exist. And they have to, if they do all electric cars, none of them will be made here. They have all of the minerals, they have all of every form of material, every form of everything they have. We have a thing called gasoline, and they don't have that, but they have to do something. And you know what you really want is some people like an electric car, some people like, you got to have choice. Hybrids maybe are good, but you got to have choice. They're forcing it. Think of it. California had big blackouts this week, and they had a restriction on electric cars taking any electricity. Do you believe it? And then they want to go all electric. The whole thing is crazy. There is already a giant EGLOT. We call it an EGLOT. They don't go far along, are very expensive, and the consumer must be given a choice. The consumer wants choice just like we want school choice. We want choice in what kind of a car we buy. So vote for Trump, and I will stop this madness immediately. I will stop it. And, you know, when you think about it, Mexico and Canada love Biden. They love this idiotic policy. That's so good for them. They won't follow suit. And save Michigan and all of the other auto states, because the American consumer just is not interested in doing this. They're not going to do it. They're all over. It's a glut. They call it an e-glut. But we have to save the American consumer is what we really have to save. I will revoke China's most favored nation status. They have a trade status, most favored, because they say they're a developing country. Well, you know what? We're a developing country, too. We have to redevelop because our country's gone to hell. And we will ban China from buying up America, including American farmland, which you know something about. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. And I will keep men out of women's sports. I will sign a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. Now think of it. Could you imagine 10 or 15 years ago having some politician, hate to use that term, but I guess that's what I became, never really wanted to be a politician, but that's what I became, I guess. But could you imagine saying, I will stop child mutilation? Who would think of this? Child mutilation without parental consent. Can you imagine if you made that statement 10 years ago, they'd say, is this guy crazy? But that's what you have to do. We'll stop child mutilation. And can you imagine having to say that I will also we are going to restore the Trump ban on transgender in the military. We had a ban on transgender. And I went to generals. I say, what do you want to do? No, sir, please do it. But then you see the same guys on television. Well, I'd like to. They just, it's very sad. You know, I had a ban, and tremendous amounts of drugs are necessary, a lot of other things. You're not allowed to have drugs in the military, so just there. And I love everybody. I mean, I love everybody, but it's not something that works, as people will tell you, as generals will tell you, as people in the military will tell you. So I had a ban, and immediately they released that ban. And, it's not a good situation. Just as I did for 4 years, I will fully uphold the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is under siege. And I will secure our elections. Our goal will be one-day voting with paper ballots and voter ID. That's all we should have. But until then, you got to get out and vote. The way we win is to swamp them. They can only cheat so much. And, a lot of people say, oh, vote early, go vote early, vote Tuesday. They had a vote in Arizona where many of the machines were broken, the Republican machines, of course, for Carrie Lake, who's a wonderful woman. But they had a vote, and they got there on Tuesday, and they stood in line for hours and hours and hours because a big percentage of the machines were not working. Terrible thing. This is what we must do to restore our country to greatness. Together we are taking on some of the most menacing forces and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. We've never seen anything like it. But no matter how hateful and corrupt the communists and criminals we're fighting against may be, you must never forget that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. It belongs to you. This is your home. This is your heritage. And our American liberty is your God-given right. We can't let anybody take it away. From Sioux Falls to Rapid City, from the Black Hills to the Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name. I live in the Badlands. Actually, the inner cities are the Badlands, right? I'll bet your Badlands are very nice. And from the open skies of the Great Plains to the majestic banks of the wide and beautiful Missouri, you stand on the shoulders of some of the toughest, freest, and fiercest people ever to walk on this earth, like her, like him, like so many. This state was built by strong South Dakota men and proud South Dakota women who braved the snow and the rain and the hot and the cold, the dangers and the diseases to head west and settle their families on the great frontier. Life was hard and it was tough, but they were Americans, and this was to them God's country. I fully understand it. Fully understand it. This is God's country. South Dakota is the state where Lewis and Clark discovered the awesome splendor of the American West. It's where fearless American workers carved their heroes into the face of Mount Rushmore. Think of that. It's where generations of hunters and trappers, cowboys, ranchers, miners, farmers, workers, and craftsmen helped build America into the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now, we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, where banks are collapsing and interest rates are through the roof. Likewise, we are a nation where energy costs have reached the highest in our history, where we are no longer energy independent or energy dominant as we were just a short number of years ago. We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and others for oil. Please, please, please help us, Joe Biden says. Yet we have more liquid gold right under our feet than any other country in the world. We are a nation that just yesterday heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will be reducing their output of oil and substantially increasing the price. And we met that threat by announcing that we no longer will be drilling for oil in large areas of Alaska. We are a nation that is consumed by the radical left's Green New Deal. Yet everyone knows that the Green New Deal is fake and will lead to our country's destruction. We are a nation whose leaders are demanding all-electric cars, despite the fact that they can't go far, cost too much, and whose batteries are produced in China with materials only available in China, when an unlimited amount of gasoline is available inexpensively in the United States, but not available in China. And now we are a nation that wants to make our great army tanks all electric, so that despite the fact that they will not be able to go very far either, few pollutants will be released into the air as we blast our way through enemy territory. And also, we are a nation who wants to make our jet fighters with a green energy stamp, losing 15% efficiency but allowing us to keep our enemy's atmosphere clean of pollutants while we attempt to knock out their planes all over the skies. We are a nation that ended oil exploration and production in the U.S. just as the price of oil reached an all-time high. What other country would do such a thing as that? We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world. And we are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse. It would never have happened with me as your president. And for 4 straight years, it didn't happen. And China with Taiwan is next. We were a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never seen before. We've got a Federal Bureau of Investigation that won't allow bad election-changing facts to be presented to the public, and which offers $1 million to a writer of fiction about Donald Trump to lie and say it was fact, where Hunter Biden's laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, and the FBI knew it wasn't, but 51 intelligence agents said it was. And they knew it wasn't also. And the Department of Justice that refuses to investigate egregious acts of voting irregularities and fraud. And we have a man who is totally corrupt and the worst president in the history of our country, who is cognitively impaired, in no condition to lead, and is now in charge of dealing with Russia and the possibility of nuclear war, which would be World War III and far more devastating than any of the previous world wars because of the weaponry that no one even wants to think about. Most powerful weapons in history. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are the enemy of the people. They refuse to discuss the Biden crime family, but enjoy covering false indictments of Donald Trump, who has done nothing wrong. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, and where crime is rampant and out of control like never before. We are a nation that is allowing Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon, and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it has taken from us to build a military to more than rival our own. And less than 3 years ago, we had Iran, China, Russia, and North Korea in check. They weren't going to do a thing against us, and everyone knows it. They respected us greatly. Now Russia and China are holding summits to carve up the world, and perhaps most importantly, we are a nation that is no longer respected or listened to on the world stage. No respect. They think we're run by fools. We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke, and we are a nation that is hostile to liberty, freedom, and faith. We are a nation whose economy is collapsing into a cesspool of ruin, whose supply chain is horrible, horrible supply chain, is broken, and whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every single list. We are a nation where large packs of sadistic criminals and thieves are allowed to go into stores and openly rob them, beat up and kill their workers and customers, and leave with armloads of goods, but with no retribution, where the authority of our great police has been taken, where their families and pensions have been threatened, and their lives would be destroyed for the mere mention of the words law enforcement. We are a nation where fentanyl and all other forms of illegal drugs are easier to get than formula for our beautiful little babies. A nation whose once revered airports are a dirty, crowded mess. You sit and wait for hours and then are notified that the plane won't leave, and they have no idea when they will, where their ticket prices have tripled. They don't have the pilots to fly the planes. They don't seek qualified air traffic controllers, and they just don't know what they're doing. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, it's lost its willpower, and it's lost its strength. We are a nation that has quite simply lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. 2024 is our final battle. With your support in this primary, we are going to finish what we so brilliantly started. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will drain the swamp once and for all. Like those patriots before us, we will not bend, we will not break, we will not yield, we will never give in, we will never give up, and we will never, ever back down. Together, we will complete the mission. We will cross the finish line. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House, and we will take back this country with a righteous 24. The great silent majority is rising like never before, and under our leadership, the forgotten men and women will be forgotten no longer. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you, South Dakota. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.